Welcome back. We are talking on Business Research Lab and we are talking about exercise 12. This is solution part for the correlation questions for question 2 and question 3. So let's look at question 2 first. A researcher was interested in investigating whether there was a relationship between marital satisfaction and level of empathic understanding, that is, level of empathy one has. One spouse was selected for each of the 25 married couples and administered both a marital satisfaction scale and an empathy scale. The marital satisfaction scale ranged from 15 to 60, and the empathy scale ranged from 10 to 50. Higher scores on the scales indicate greater degrees of marital satisfaction and empathy, respectively. The data are located in the file. This file is with us, so exercise 12.2 SAV, and the variables have been named as marital satisfaction and empathy. So we have to open the file and perform the appropriate analysis to answer the questions. That is, we have to state the null and the alternate, you can say, hypothesis. We have to state the research question. We have to, you can say, calculate correlation coefficient between the two variables in SPSS. We have to find out the value of the correlation. We have to see whether the correlation is significant or not. At alpha is equal to 0.05. We have to talk about the effect size and suggest whether the effect size is small, medium, or large. And finally, we have to write the results of the study. So this has been the question. So let's repeat the question and try to understand what the question basically is. The question is about 25 married couple. So of these 25 married couple, either husband or wife has been selected to answer the question on two facts. Variable one is how much they are satisfied with their marriage, that is marital satisfaction. And the second variable is level of empathic understanding or level of empathy one has. So these are two variables we are having here, and we are just looking at the relationship between the two variables, whether a significant relationship prevails or not. So trying to, you can say, answer the questions here, we are going for A and B question, which are more theoretical in nature. So A is we have to state the null and alternate hypothesis. And this we have done with example and exercise one previously, that whenever we are saying the null hypothesis, so null hypothesis for correlation questions will be rho is equal to 0. Rho is the population value for the correlation coefficient. So we are saying rho is equal to 0. And when we say rho is not equal to 0, it is alternate hypothesis. So we have answered A part. B part is state the research question for the data. So the research question is there a significant relationship between marital satisfaction and level of empathic understanding? I repeat the research question. Is there a relationship, is there a significant relationship between marital satisfaction and level of empathetic understanding? So that's the question we have got, and that's the research question. Now, moving towards, you can say, answering the C, D, E, and F part of the question. So what we can basically do is we can straight away move to our, you can say, the SPSS file. So here I move, and here I am. So I'm moving to the SPSS file now. I'll do it again. So this is here, and this is the file. So I'm sharing it now with you. So this is the file. There are two variables we've got, marital satisfaction and empathy. These are two variables. Both these variables are in scale form. And then if you look at the data view, so data is there, and we have got data for about 25 couples. So that is the data we have got. So returning back to the variable view and moving straight to the, you can say, analysis part, we are doing correlation. We go to analyze, go to correlate, click on bivariate over here, and this is what we are having. Bivariate correlation is before us. So I select the two, move the two variables to the variable, you can say, box from where the analysis will be conducted. On its own, you can say we are having, you can say by default, Pearson correlation, you can say being tagged here. So we'll move on that. And test of significance, definitely it has to be a two-tailed, because for alternate hypothesis, we are saying rho is not equal to 0. So it can be, you can say that the two variables which are, you can say, related, in case they are, can either be, you can say, negatively related, or you can call it inversely related, or they can be, you can say, positively related. So that's the case here. I click on OK, and the moment I click on OK, I'm getting my answer. So I'll show you, you can say, that particular file to you. So here we are moving to new share. I'm moving to output, and here we are. So we have got the answer. And if you actually look at the answer, the marital satisfaction and empathy, if you're looking at the relationship between the two variables here, you'll find that people who are having, you can say, very high, you can say, marital satisfaction are the ones who have got a very high empathy also. So this means the value is coming to 0.558 and significance is 0.004. So if you look at the things here, we are having a significant relationship coming up. So that's there. Just to make you understand the things better off and make you understand how we are conducting correlation, what we can basically do is that we can go for this particular, you can say, analysis once again. For that, I'll go to analyze, I'll go to correlate, and maybe you can say this time I'll just try to reset the things. So maybe you can say afresh when we start, we are starting from the very start. So we are going to analyze first, we are going to correlate, we are going to bivariate. Click on bivariate. You have the bivariate, you can say, um, the two variables coming up. Move these variables to the central box. These two variables are, you can say, related to each other, but none of them is either independent or dependent. So that is something we all know. By default, Pearson correlation is already getting tagged. Test of significance is, you can say, two-tailed, because we are looking at both the sides of the, you can say, the normal distribution, that, okay, fine, there can be a negative relationship or inverse relationship between the two variables. There can be a positive relationship or direct relationship between the two variables. So that will be the case here. We click on OK, and the data is before you. So marital satisfaction and empathy are significantly correlated at 0.558 with a significance of 0.004. So that is the answer we are getting. The value of n is 25. This we know. So just to, you can say, move back to the question so that we can answer, you can say, and the question there. Let me share you the things. So I'm sharing the question again to you all, and now I'm, you can say, talking about the things. So the C part of the question here that we are having is calculate the correlation coefficient between the two variables in SPSS. What is the value of the correlation? So the answer you've just seen, the value of correlation comes to 0.558. So that's there. Is the correlation significant? Of course, the correlation is quite significant. The value of, you can say, R is equal to 0.558 with a significance value, or small p, is equal to 0.004. And since this value is less than 0.05, we are considering it to be a significant value. So correlation is significant. Now coming to the E part here, we are talking about the effect size of the study. So effect size is, here in the case, is, you can say, the effect size is 0.558. The Pearson correlation value itself, you can say, or R value itself, becomes the effect size. So effect size is 0.558. And this effect size is supposed to be a large one, because we know if effect size is plus minus 0.1, it is a small. If it is plus minus 0.3, it is medium. And if it is, you can say, 0.5 plus minus 0.5, it is supposed to be large. Since our value happens to be, you can say, 0.558, we are having a large effect size for this question. And now coming to the, you can say, last part of the question, that write the results of the study. So results of study are simple. We say that there is a significant relationship. There's a significant positive relationship for marital, for between marital satisfaction and level of empathic understanding, comma, R within brackets 23 is equal to 0.558, comma, small p is equal to 0.04. So that is how we've answered, you can say, this question. We have answered this question, you can say, um, 2. Now we'll be moving, you can say, to question 3. So now we are moving to question number 3. So here the question is, a researcher investigated whether there was a relationship between the time spent being read as a child at age 3 and later performance on a second grade English skills exam. The parental report of the amount of time spent reading to their child on 1 to 10 scale and the scores on an English skill exam on a 10 to 50 scale were recorded for 30 students, and higher scores indicate being read to more at age 3 and better performance on the exam in second grade, respectively. The data are located in the, you can say, file 12.3 SAV, and the variables are named reading time and exam scores. So we have to open the file and perform the appropriate analysis to answer the questions. That is, we have to state the null and altered hypothesis, state the research question, calculate correlation coefficient between two variables in SPSS. We have to find out the value of correlation to see whether the correlation is significant at alpha is equal to 0.05, find out the effect size and categorize it as either small, medium, or large, and then finally write the results of the study. So that's the question before us. So let's look at the question once again. So if you look at the question here, we are talking about, you can say, child who at the age of 3, how much the parents were reading before him or her. So the amount of, you can say, time spent reading to the child. So we are having this in a scale of 0 to 10. So how much they were reading, you can say, how much time they were spending reading before the child when the child was of 3 years age. And maybe you can say a few years later, when the child was, you can say, giving English, you can say, skills exam. So what was the, you can say, the score, you can say, of the child that is on a scale of 10 to 50. So that is being recorded here for the 30 students. And we have the two variables, that is reading time devoted at the age of 3 for the child and the exam scores of the child in English skill exam when she or he was in second grade. So here we have to state the null hypothesis and the alternate hypothesis first. So answering, you can say, A part, we all know null hypothesis is that rho is equal to 0. Alternate hypothesis is rho is not equal to 0. And talking about the research question, is there a significant relationship between the time spent being read to as a child and later performance on a second grade English skill exam by the same child? So that becomes the research question. Now to answer, you can say, the remaining questions, we have to move to the SPSS file. So here we move to the SPSS file. I'm sharing the file to you. We have the reading time and exam scores being given for those 30 child. And we have, you can say, the variable view here. We'll be straight away moving to the analysis part, analyze, correlate, bivariate, click on bivariate. You have reading time and exam scores. We move to variables, and here we are placing the two variables, the two, you can say, variables which are in scale form. And by default, you can say Pearson is there, so that will remain because data is in scale. The test of significance is supposed to be two-tailed, and why? Because here in the alternate hypothesis, we assume that the relationship rho is not equal to 0. It can be less than 0, it can be more than 0. So we are saying that, okay, fine, there can be a possibility of inverse relationship. There's a possibility of direct relationship. Inverse relationship, we all know, is always negative, and direct relationship is positive. So we just click on OK. And the moment we click on the OK part, we are having the answer coming in the output file. So this output file is before you, and the answers we have got, and the answers we are getting here are that the reading time and exam scores are positively correlated with a value of, you can say, 0.518. So it's a highly significant value, and significance definitely is 0.000, 0.003. So it is highly significant. So that's how we are getting. So this is the answer we are getting, and based on this answer, we can, you can say, um, talk about, you can say, the things, you can say, which are asked in the question. So I'm moving back to my share on, you can say, the question itself. The question is here with you. So we are moving to, you can say, C part. So calculate the correlation coefficient between two variables in SPSS. So we have calculated the correlation coefficient, and the coefficient correlation comes to 0.518. And so the value that we have got is 0.518. This correlation is significant because the value of significance is 0.03. Sorry, 0.003. That is what the significance value is. Let me check, because let me see if I'm remembering correct. Yes, it's 0.003. That is what the significance value is. And so that is what the value is. And what is the effect size? The effect size in case of Pearson correlation is given by the correlation coefficient itself. So our value here is 0.518. So 518 is supposed to be a large correlation. You can say a large, you can say, effect size is there. And finally, you can say, to write down the result of the study, we'll say this way, that there's a significant relationship between the time spent being read to as a child at age of 3 and later performance on a second grade English skill exam by the same child, comma, small r within brackets 28 is equal to 0.518, comma, p is equal to 0.003. So that's the answer, and that's how we have to write the results. So thank you for watching the 3 videos on correlations. We'll meet again next week. Thank you.